Already. Sick. Alright. What the why is it so loud? Okay. Alright. Okay. Why is this so freaking loud, dude? Shut up. Okay. Alright, first things first, we gotta check audio, like we always do, because I think I'm about to get attacked by something. Okay, alright. First things first, we gotta check audio. If there's no audio issues, then today's actually gonna be kind of good, because my stream deck is working. No audio issues, no video issues, dude. We're fucking solid. All I gotta do is wait 16 seconds. What's up, Biggle? What's up, dude? I think my death counter is working in sheet. Dude, we're fucking popping off right now. Alright, here we go. Sheet, dude, we're fucking popping. Alright, that's good so far. Alright. Good so far. Alright. Oh, we're freaking golden. My god, look at that. No freaking issues on a Monday, dude? Woo! Alright, let me double check my counter's working. Oh, it's freaking working. Oh,
You've got mail.
alright. Dude, look at that. Full stream, no freaking issues. Let's go, dude. 3 hours of kicking ass. Okay, my game feels loud as shit. Oh, it's because I have my headset up. Forgot. Alright. What'd you do? I didn't do sheet. That's the thing, my guy. I don't do sheet. It's just freaking breaks. Sheet. Alright. Damn, it's working. I don't know, right? Sheet. Alright, here we go. I'm about to slay this guy. First freaking try, dude. Here we go.
Face me.
I don't remember how to play this game, so we're good. Ah. Ah. Oh, like the little. Feels like I'm playing Civ 5. That's fine. Oh. Ah. It's the wrong button. Did I dodge that? Alright, oh, you know me. We gotta warm up. Oh, forgot I have. Oh, yeah, right. Alright. Give me an hour to warm up. We're good. How's it? Honestly, dude, it was kind of garbage. Not gonna lie. I messed up some shit at my work, and I have to go fix it, and then I end up having to wait for some other sheet, and it's just all. But whatever. How's your money going, my guy?
Face me. Shinobi.
Every time. She hasn't changed a little bit. Why did I use my sheet? See, how come that isn't striking me, okay? That's freaking dumb. That's freaking dumb. Every time I freaking go for my sheet, you always do that sheet. Every freaking time. I can explain that. You fall because of that? You It's a freaking bow, dude. What? That didn't hit you. Slap one, I'm not gonna lie. Oh, I forgot to use my sheet. I totally blocked that first one. That's some bullshit. Oh, oh, if that would have worked. That would have worked a little bit. You're supposed to walk into the freaking match. Hell yeah. When was I holding S, my guy? Oh wait, I wasn't. Oh yeah, I should know he does that. Yeah, I fucking don't. Dude, every time I go for that. Frickin' bitch. Get the fuck up, you nerd. Bro, when was that holding S? Bro. God damn it.
Of the dragon's blood. Kill you as fast as it takes.
Alright.
The glory of Ashina.
Oh wait, I already died 2 times. So yeah, I'm already fucking up. Already fucking up. Okay, it's fine. Bagel, have I ever asked you your opinion on New World before?
Face me, Shinobi.
What? What? I press. Dude, when was I holding down that freaking button, guy? I literally don't know when I was holding that shit down. I'm getting freaking scammed. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm about to just not go for that attack anymore because it always pushes me up. Know what type of game I played it? It's just a walking simulator. I didn't like it that much. I got you. Go ahead and just freaking finish me off, will you? They did like a massive rework to it, like, well, at least like for the beginning area. It's supposed to be pretty. I'm trying to get my I'm trying to get Chase to try it out. I think he might eventually, but there's so many games. Can we talk about what? I pressed my shit. Dude, 2023 is a lot of games coming out. Apparently we got this like Harry Potter game coming out or some shit. Let's see if that's any good. And then we got freaking Diablo coming out. Hopefully that's not garbage. And there's a couple other things. I'm really hoping not for that. Actually, sheep. But it's not. I'm already out of class. What? Since when did I go? What? Since when did I start flying there? Alright.
Face me.
Am I ever gonna get to this freaking dumb beaches phase? like be a little quicker? I not want to attack right there. Okay, just a little bit late. Play dead. Why I didn't try jumping for that. There's no freaking way I'm freaking killing 3 phases of this dumb beach. Oh, I forgot this is 4th. Going straight to kill this guy another way? Okay.
Many times as it takes.
Well, this guy will probably gonna take 3/4 of the stream. Why didn't I get to try him that much last stream today? I hate how I can't. Why can't I just stagger you all the time, huh? Why I only gotta be a couple times? Well, how come I wasn't cooking at that? Get your dumb ass up. Oh, it doesn't stagger you? That's dumb. Are you gonna do something other than shoot? How did that not stagger you? Come on, my guy. What the please. I totally pressed fucking space, my guy. Okay, I deserve that. I totally pressed space. Shit. Oh, I remember, you guys were talking something about like a monkey boss or something. Is that what you're talking about? Are you gonna do anything for Christmas, by the way? Christmas? I know my grandma and uncle are coming over. That we haven't seen in a hot minute. But other than that, I have fucking no idea. Gotta get past fucking thing soon. Freaking! Oh, I know he's gonna do that. Why do I not? Ooh. Yeah, my sister's family is coming over on Thanksgiving. Haha, that's gonna be fun. I don't know why I don't try and parry that. I don't want to guess if we're going to do the thrusting attack every time. That's kind of why I don't even freaking go for it anymore. What kind of attack was that? Like sometimes you go for the little freaking boom boom punch thing. What the fuck was this? I should have realized I was in the freaking thrust. Oh, I forgot you can't stagger when you do that. So you'd think I know that by now. But apparently not. I've used... Okay, this run's freaking pointless. I didn't mean to do that attack, but I did. Oh, I thought I could beat him for that. I pressed fucking shift forward, but I guess I cannot. That's not slashing. Ha!
Glory of Ashina.
I gotta stop just going in. I need to chill. At least I finally learned how the freaking combat works in this game. Instead of just freaking pressing buttons and hoping for the best.
Face
We can.
me, Shinobi. I didn't think
I need to stop being so freaking afraid to parry. The whole game is freaking based off parry. I just freaking beat him. Then again, I gotta worry with my sheet too, and it's like, fuck, fucking things to worry about. But that's the one you can't really. See, I would have been dumb if I would have went him right there. I'm freaking learning. Oh yeah, get the hell out of here. Calm down. Calm down. Okay, calm down. Oh, come on, my guy. I thought it was dead. Technically, there's no sound effect when you die, right? How was I supposed to know?
kill you as many times as it takes.
I got this. Some money. I'm not finished. Shut your ass. Yeah, how many times am I gonna get hit by that freaking slash? See, well, I thought he was doing a thrust. Why you gotta switch up on me, huh? You can't just do the same shit over and over again. Now you do the freaking thrust, okay? Yeah, the freaking. What one? See, it's dumb for me to attack you. I don't know why I'm attacking him. I know my freaking sheet's high. Oh, now your sheet's already freaking reset. Freaking block that. I blocked that. Just not. Dude, I swear I'm not freaking. I feel like I'm timing those so good. But I'm not. This one. Attack 3 times in a row. Why can't I just have more, my bar just be showing more? Every freaking time I go for that, you son of a beach. See, no, this is great. Just continuously staggering you. I should not have went when I touched it there. See, that's fun. But me just is like, you know, that's sick. Maybe I should just freaking get him in the corner every time. I gotta stop getting hit by his freaking random slashes. I need to not be so freaking cocky and freaking hit him like 3 times in a row. I need to like move it down to like freaking 1 time or 2 times.
Face me.
But then again, I feel like I can't because he's gonna freaking go back up. I wish I had more freaking a higher bar. I thought that was the other one. Damn. Probably get my hair. We're in the same predicament we were last time.
Not finished yet. Send them to the divine air.
Stop getting hit by this. Oh, I thought that was the other one. Damn it. Every time I think it's the other one. Oh, no, no. So you know he's gonna do that because he freaking rolls around. Come on, Nathan. You should know this, you know. I gotta see her for 9 years waiting for my shoes to go down. My shoes falling down. Is that considered a thrust? Beach hold right click you. What the fuck? Yes.
Or of the dragon's blood. Kill you as many times as it takes.
Oh, frick that, no, I should probably heal. I'm gonna die. No, I'm not. Okay, at least I get to practice this a little more. Oh, I just forgot the technique. You said frickin' jump on attack,
Impressive.
or I can try and charge it.
Divine air. You deserve better.
You have to have such a good reaction time,
Do
dude.
not
See, this is why I don't know how I'm good at these games. I wouldn't even classify myself as good.
Heresy.
Jump and left click before you hit the ground. Okay.
Heresy, you said.
You have to have such high reaction time for this shit, man. Okay, I don't think you've done that before. Oh, that doesn't stack on you! That's messed up, my guy. Why can't that stagger you? That's dumb. Thunder attack server, why can't you stagger him? It's fucking dumb. Shurikens are useless in most fights. They're only really good for dogs. What's like a good quick stagger that you can toss? Is that in the game? Oh, you know what? I wonder if firecrackers work good for this guy. Should I have that, right? Doesn't exist? Oh, that fucking sucks. Let me try a firecracker on this beach.
Face me. Shinobi.
See, that's like a... I feel like that's a cheap way, though. That's like a Nick way. Oh, I thought you were going for the other one. Damn it, dude. Oh, oh. God damn, I hate that move. Okay, I guess I was mid-animation when I shifted and reactivate. God, Jesus Christ. I was doing good till I freaking got pooped up. I feel like that's such a freaking nickname. Why did they go for an attack? Why? I'll be a beach, Nick. Yeah, maybe you can be a beach because you didn't have any freaking sandbar or stack bar. Press R like 7 times. I don't know when the fuck I press tab. My timing can't be. Jesus. Oh, shit. That was pretty well. I already used on my sheet already? I know beach. Woo. I literally knew that was his freaking thrust and I didn't do shit about it. Just, what the fuck? I feel like the firecrackers are just too freaking dumb in like a good way. Fuck, they make the game too easy. Well, I don't know if it'd be too easy, but I feel like it's going easy mode. I ain't no beach, so. So I wonder what ability is good against like bosses then.
Shinobi.
You know what? No, I accept that. I was freaking pressing. I accept it. Garbage freaking gameplay. Not one attack right there. Worked out though. I ain't no beach. I ain't no beach. I ain't no fucking beach. I ain't no fucking beach. Couldn't you technically kill all the bosses but not even actually attacking and just parrying? Money, I'll just swing in the frickin' air. Yeah, I knew he was gonna do it too. Please don't do a range attack. Please don't do a range attack. Thank you. Oh, I knew that was a frickin' thrust. I knew he was gonna do that. I knew he was gonna do that too. Son of a bitch. Button. Oh God. Oh Jesus. Oh, thank God. Oh, shit, I have 3 potions left. Okay. How did I die last time?
Impressive, Shinobi.
I don't even remember. Alright, Nick. Don't suck. Abuse the shit out of the thunder. You're freaking like god at this game. Imagine dying like that. No, you know that's not a freaking thrust. You dumb. God, do you all the time do that shit? I don't have reaction time for that. You're telling me I was supposed to do that right there? There's no freaking shot I'm doing that. There's no way I have the reaction time for that. Okay. Try something. Is that a... I don't have reaction time for that. Really step back was obvious. Well, I wasn't paying attention to that. I'm just looking for the freaking lightning. The one where he shoots the arrow is harder? How many different ones is there? Like 2? Compared to some other fights? Oh, great. Wait, did I add death for that one? I feel like I didn't. How long was that 88 for? Forgot I'm adding one. Okay. I guess plus is to activate my DPI setting? Alright.
Face me, Shinobi.
Let's not talk about that. That much of dodging the freaking crooked things. Fuck your attack, Beach. Oh, fuck your attack too, Beach. Fuck that, you ain't doing that. Holy shit! Fuck out of my game, Beach. I do not want to press that button. Oh, I thought that was the other. Damn it, dude, I'm so fucking bad at painting. Oh, I thought that was the. I keep getting the freaking motions messed up. God, fuck.
Kill you as many times as it takes.
Damn. Ah, alright. What the hell are you freaking doing? To be fair, I was mid-animation. I couldn't do shit. I was mid-animation of swinging. There's no shot I would have been able to do that. See! Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. We're getting there.
Face me, Shinobi.
Again, every time we die, just more practice. Apparently not good enough practice. Oh look, I dodged. Nice. They'll be fucking soft lock. Oh. Oh, come on. Come on. Sir, I'd appreciate it if I would let me out of this freaking corner. Ow! I'd appreciate it if you let me out of this corner if you don't mind. You can you get up, Beach?
The dragon's blood. Kill you as many times as it takes.
Oh, I was. Haha! Get up, Beach! Come on, come on, come on, come on! That was close enough. There's no way I'm doing this, but maybe I can get lucky and get it. So freaking practice more, I guess. Oh, why did I go for an attack right there? I kind of wanted that. Okay, well, you fucked up all my healing, so I guess I'm not doing that. Come on, let me get to it. Frickin'. Can you stop doing that one, Beach? Please?
The glory of Ashina.
Can you, like, stop doing that one? Because I just, please. Just, please, just stop. That'd be great. Hey Bagel, do you remember your frickin' your guess on how many deaths it's gonna take me to complete this game? I think you said like around like 1,000, right? Some sheet.
Face me, Shinobi.
Oh, why did I go for an attack right there? You didn't give me much frickin' reaction time for that. I don't know why I try and dodge that when I know it's gonna take like half my work. What? Okay, I guess that was a nice trade. I didn't see that. My turn, Peach. Okay. That's not fair that you can change directions like that. God damn, I fucking hate that move. I ain't no Peach. I am kind of Peach, but I don't have any freaking I'm still on your first one? Oh, dude, I'm on my first one. What the fuck?
Send them the divine end.
Boo. Boo. Oh, what the? What? I know that.
The dragon's blood. Kill you as many times as it takes.
I think that was a fucking person. Oh. Oh, what? You didn't go for thing? I don't have enough fucking bar for this. Now I'm trapped in the fucking corner. I don't like this. Give me away. Okay. I have no vision already. Yeah, I can barely see what that was. Okay, I ain't gotten. Dude, that first one took me like 7 years. Okay, I gotta revive though. Okay, he always starts off with a move. And then he starts off with another one. Is that all you do is just those moves, man? That's fucking annoying as shit. I did some. Hey, at least I fucking did it. At least I did it. That's a plus. Let's go. Fucking got that shit. So I mean, it's not that hard. I have to be the freaking not a grandpa when it comes to reaction. I said like 1,000, but you're doing pretty decent, so maybe like 500. Damn, bump it down by 500. What the fuck? Is that how long a freeze is for? Are you freaking kidding me? What the fuck?
Face me.
Oh! Wait, did I parry his thrust? Not the counter one, but. Oh, I did not want to jump over there. Sorry. Keep him in the corner. God, I'm so paranoid of your freaking moves. I hate it. Hoping you go the other way. Please, 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 please. God, I purposely hit that attack. Second the shit out of my bed, dude. Ooh, I risked it for the biscuit. Can I get a quick kill off? We're sure gonna find out. Oh! Oh, Jesus. Okay. I didn't get it, but at least I freaking... Wow, my timing is god tier.
The dragons kill you as many times as it takes.
I don't know if you're aware, Rego, but I have really good reaction time and timing in this game. I thought he was... I didn't know he was winding up for an attack. I thought he was freaking, he got staggered or some shit. Food. I've noticed for the second and third sheet, his when he charges up for his big ass combo with the freaking slash sheets, he doesn't wait as long, and I always forget that sheet. And it always surprises me every freaking time. Even though I shouldn't, because I fought him like freaking 30 times so far.
Face me, Shinobi. I didn't think.
I don't know why I went for an attack right there. God, I hate that attack. I try and parry it, it never works out.
Of the dragon's blood. Kill you as many times as it takes.
Oh, I thought you were winding up for the other sheet. I didn't dodge that one? I had 5 pushes up. I didn't dodge that? What the fuck? I've been streaming for an hour already. What? Say what? What the hell did the time go? There's no shop in front of this guy for an hour already, dude. I've only gotten like 10 attempts in. What the fuck?
Face me, Shinobi. I didn't think.
Yeah, I barely got like 10 attempts and I'm already freaking hour in this sheet. Damn, that counter freaking beats his bar up. I didn't actually notice how much it actually counters. Damn, that, I should need to start doing that more. That's freaking OP. Not like to. Okay. Ow. Ow. Don't go for a range hit. Thanks, sir. I couldn't see because your shit. I thought you were going for a roundy round. Oh, frickin'. Oh, what? The frick did you say? I've already used 5 already. This is the frickin' ass. I don't have the frickin' bar for this. shit. Oh, I thought that was something else.
The dragon's blood. Kill you as many times as it takes.
Oh, shit, this is the last one already? Ha. Alright. Hope I can get one shot here. Wow! Nice. What the fuck? Nice attempt. This. I'm gonna bump that up to 600. See. Can I get this guy before 100? Let's see.
Face me, Shinobi. I don't think
Wow, I just went from a freaking solid ass run to freaking hot garbage. I went from a good ass run to like not good very quick. Damn. 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 Ooh. Oh, I was hoping you'd back up and then heal real quick.
what of the dragon's blood. Kill you as many times as it takes.
This guy's freaking stressful. Wait, what happened? Did I not left click? I was spamming that sheet. What? I think I charged it, right? I just what the fuck? I swear I was spamming left click. I guess I wasn't. Shit! Let's guys run too. Kind of. Wow. Was I really not pressing left click? What the fuck? That's some bullshit.
Face me, Shinobi. I don't think
Oh, I got that. Wow, what a waste of a whole frickin' war. Oh, if I would have got that. Sick. Oh, I thought that was for me for some reason. It was not.
Of the dragon's blood. As many times as it takes.
Damn. For real? Seems I'm pretty consistent at going like 2 or 3 potions left in this freaking third one. And then I get smacked. Wow! What a nice attempt. Damn, again? Okay, now, you think I did that on purpose, because I literally dodged into him twice, but I can assure you it was not the reason. I was just trying to get up from being on the ground, and I guess I frickin' pressed wrong. Shoot. That was probably the best attempt yet, dude. That was frickin' sick. Let's have that more often, dude. That's frickin' lit. Do I have my... Yeah,
Face me, Shinobi.
Oh, I was mid-animation, damn it. I don't have the bar for this. I don't have the bar for that. I don't have the frickin'. Oh, thank God. Let's not have the bar for that. Oh, I assumed that was a thrust. Flash. Hey, can you like let me get up? Yeah, let's dodge right into the freaking gorilla again. Oh no. The one time I think it's a different one. Well, not one time, but... See, I'm at 2 again. I'm so consistent. Oh, I have 2 revives? Oh, there's a cooldown on it. Whoa! Oh shit! Do you do thrustings in that? Yeah, I appreciate if you would get the fuck up. I don't think you do thrustings at all. Why am I attacking? Why am I attacking? Chill. Hello? I feel like I charged it, but it didn't realize I was. Oh, you do thrusting. Bro, I was. Did you? Okay, 100% I charged that, right? I was spamming left click. What the fuck? You know, well, not charge it. You know what I mean? Deflect it. What the frick it's called? I just clicked beats. You heard me clicking. Like I was fucking hitting that shit. What the fuck? Push me. I like how even if you don't get a perfect parry, you still fund it. I meant to deflect that shit, but what the fuck did I press that button? That's not a thrust. I'll deflect the first attack. Just trying to go for it. I ain't gonna let you. That didn't finish you off. Oh, 4 potions this time. Wait, you still do the thrusting? Oh, Jesus! I didn't. Oops. I'll just be something done with it. Bro, I pressed left click my guy. I don't know what else you're going to do. Bro, I pressed left click. I don't know what you want me to do. This game rigged as shit. What the fuck? Nah, you want to work. Get the freak out of my fucking game. Don't breathe. You're not clicking, bro. I'm telling you, I'm clicking my guy. I'm clicking. Caravan lighting? Frick, hell yeah. How many times did I do? 2 times? Not gonna lie, bro. That freaking thrusting saved my ass. If I didn't get that thrusting, I probably would have died because I was one shot for like a good portion of that. Also, sub 100 on freaking, how the hell do you say this guy's name? Freaking, let's go. Oh, Jesus. I never want to fight you over again. Fuck you, beach. Give me my seat. Technically turns the spraying blood of a victim to smoke? Oh. Waha? Activated after a backstab blow? Ooh, so you can have like a... Ooh. That's kind of cool. The smoke screen allows one to remake the element. Ooh, that's pretty freaking sick. I didn't get anything of that. Are powerful abilities that can be used after performing Oh, so it's more than one, I'm guessing? They must be equipped in the equip menu and cost items to perform. Right click, click up there. Ah. Wait. Oh, is that what this is right here? Just open up. Oh, okay. Wait, so is that what the second, the other little bar is in the bottom? Or not bar, the box?
You were victorious, I see.
Oh, I thought that was, what's his face?
are you?
I mean you no harm. Shinobi of the divine Lord Kenichiro. Is this the rejuvenating waters?
Don't tell me. Please. No, not again. Don't fight you again.
Ashina, this land is everything to me.
No way I have to fight him again.
For her sake,
I'm not fighting you again.
I will shed humanity itself. Resurrection. Yes. Indeed.
Wait, so...
So,
You're telling me I have to fight... You're telling me I have to fight this man again in the future? He's not even fully dead now? Are you fucking kidding me right now? You know, next time I fight his ass is gonna have like 7,000 new abilities. What the? Boo! I wanted to hear what what's her face had to say. Only one. Oh, so that is what this is. Oh, that's for freaking backstabbing, dude. That's pretty freaking sick. So, I think I unlocked all like the major stuff, right? Damn, I've unlocked a lot of sheets. Damn. It's nice for sneaking around. I have to fight that bitch again. Oh, I get a new little icon on the bottom right too. Okay. That bitch only gave me 2? Boop. What did I say I was buying? Using Cestus with elbow and arm strikes to unleash your flurry of quick attacks that inflict damage while preventing counterattacks? Wait, when did I get this sheet? The strikes are both a martial art and a form of prayer? What the fuck? Repeated palm strikes elbowing. Okay, so what? Just freaking right click, left click, and then yeah. What the fuck? Okay, which one is the I should probably do that. Is it this one? Oh! Wait. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I forgot. Wait, is that the thing that... Wait, what does that do again? Oh, yeah, attack me. I already knew that. Okay, this is the one I'm looking for. Yeah. Yeah. Alright, got what? 2 little upgrades right there? Let's go. Look at that. Attack power 4. Let's go. Alright. Okay. What's my current sheet right now? Okay, low-key, I like this a lot, though. Maybe we can, I kind of like that one I just saw. This one right here. Should I try this? I kind of want to try this. Is this going to be better than the one I have, though? I kind of like the one I have, dude. I like being able to either back up or... what's it called? There's going to be a lot of talking now. Pay attention to what they say. Oh, shit. Do you know if this is any good? Can you just tell me straight up? I feel like it's kind of good, but if you can't counter it, preventing counterattack. This might be good for bosses, maybe. I don't know. But then again, it's the first ability, so. Fuck, improves the amount of sen obtained from enemies and improve item drop rates. Ooh. Adds a finishing attack to unleash your very quick time shot. Ooh. Rest of the left or God, there's a lot of combinations. Hurl your body into an enemy, knocking them away. Holy shit. Skill points are infinite. You can always grind them. True, true, true. Okay, I really hope this is good because this sounds freaking amazing. And I'm gonna take a wild guess that this might be an even more upgrade to that one, right? Oh shit. Okay, I feel like I should do this then, right? Because my cheat's what, 9%? I doubt a lot. I never got anything from the temple skill tree, but you can do whatever you want. How did I skip past that? Up to you. Okay, wait. Can you remind me what the fuck this stupid ass cheat is again? This is the chance of being able to be revived, right? Or how common I can do it. Makes you one not sick anymore. Well, no, doesn't that affect my Wait, so the higher it is, the worse then? I'd say it's just a percentage of you not losing anything when you die. Oh, yeah, that's what that is. I thought that was something completely different for some reason. Oh, okay. But yeah. Lots of NPCs you haven't even seen yet. True, true, true. Okay. Oh wait, that's all it is? Just 2 attacks? Well, didn't it say a lot more than that? A flurry of quick attacks. What? Shouldn't that be more than 1 attack? Huh. Alright, you said... I guess I'm getting one
At
first.
long last, I've managed to fulfill my master's orders. I give you my thanks.
Who exactly do you
What?
serve?
Ishin Ashina. I am a doctor in the service of Lord Ishin.
Why were you ordered to help me?
Lord Ishin has no desire to use the power of the dragon's heritage. That is why he...
He tried to help Lord Kuro escape Ashina.
Correct.
The message I found in the well, that was your doing?
Also correct. My duties have concluded.
What?
There's someone I think you'd like to see. Lord Kuro is downstairs.
Okay, the beach she's talking about, that's the dude I just fought, right? I didn't even pay attention to that dumb beach's name.
There's someone Lord...
Oh, shit. Here he is. It's fun. Okay, so who the frick is... Who's that? Who's she talking about then? Kenshiro. These names are already what? Japanese? How the fuck are you supposed to remember that shit?
I have come for you.
Awfully close.
Yes, you did well to come here.
Let us go. We must leave Ashina.
Wolf, my blood. The blood of the dragon causes men to become undying. The same goes for you.
Yes, my lord.
I wished to save you. I'm sure that I would do the same thing given another chance. However, undying begets stagnation. The immortal oath, the rejuvenating waters, the dragon rot, they all corrupt men to the point that they no longer live as men. I wish to sever the chains of stagnation bred by the dragon's heritage. Wolf,
Wow.
will you help me achieve this aim?
Wow. uh. See, this is a hard decision here. I mean, I get what he's saying, but I've come this far. Is this even worth like trying to risk your sheet to freaking help you out? Or we can obey the freaking iron code. I mean, shit, man. Why do these games have to make me choose stuff? It's like it knows I don't like picking sheep. I feel like I should just do the obey. That's what I'm kind of figuring out here. Yeah, you see, even used it obey before I even freaking said it. What do you mean no balls? So is that what, bad then? I'm kind of leaning towards obey just because I went through all this sheet just to freaking do your sheet and then cheat. No balls. I think you might want me to choose obey. Wait, okay. Before I choose, tell me this. Is this like a game changer in the whole story? It has to be, right? Well, it's not. Shouldn't say game changer. Well, yeah, it could be a game changer. This is a game changer, right? Has to be. This is a freaking big boy decision. This probably changes like where. Yeah, actually, you know what? He is probably gonna disobey my sheet anyways and go do it anyways. I've said one of those game changing decisions I would tell you. Oh yeah, I forgot. Okay, well that means that this is probably gonna be freaking. He's probably just gonna do it anyways. He can get pissed at me, but. Okay, to be fair, I'm choosing obey because because I thought of it. All right, not you.
I cannot. To protect you, the divine.
Sorry, my guy.
That was the duty my father entrusted.
Look,
to me.
I got a good reasoning.
How many times have you died and
I
come
got
back
good
to
reasoning.
life for my sake? 2, 3 times, or perhaps a number so large that it
98.
cannot be counted.
As long as
98.
For the purpose of defending my lord, the number does not matter.
I do not wish to bind you to an eternity of undeath. Wolf, join me in my quest to sever the ties of
No,
immortality.
let me guess.
As you wish.
Thank you, loyal wolf.
I knew it. I knew it. I wasted all that time for no damn reason.
If we are seeking to sever the immortal ties, I know a good place to start.
Fuck was the
Wolf,
point of that?
Look at this.
A book from Kuro serving the Dibba looks old, body and story, and the server page is missing how it describes the meaning to perform blah blah blah. Okay, this thing's written in
It's an ancient record that was kept.
That's
in
the only thing you
Ashina
can't
Castle.
use. That one doesn't do
Sacred
anything?
Dragon
Oh.
tears from
We'll
the
see.
divine realm.
Yes, it is my belief that with the dragon tears, it may be possible to sever the dragon's heritage.
But the divine realm? How do we?
I know. Wolf, that incense burner over there, it belonged to a person of interest. Take a look.
Oh, that one.
Is there something special about it?
I'm told that long ago, there was another divine heir living here in Ashina Castle. His name was Lord Takeru. This incense
Okay.
burner belonged to him.
Where is he now?
He died a long time ago,
Where?
apparently. Wrapped in the aroma of the fountainhead, I returned to the divine realm. Those are supposedly the words he left behind.
You're saying
Huh?
the scent of the fountainhead is the key to reaching the divine realm.
That is my belief.
Okay.
Wolf, let us discover the truth together.
Do I have a fucking choice?
Now, as to how we begin our search. I am certain some of Lord Takeru's books remain in this castle. Books
Okay.
that he collected in order to find the divine realm. I will search for them.
In
Huh?
addition to finding a way to reach the divine realm, might we also look into how we might sever the immortal ties?
A fine suggestion. Talk to Ishin. If anyone knows the answer, it is him. Wolf, come with me.
Okay. Okay, we gotta walk a little faster than this.
Lord Ishin is not within this castle citadel. I'm told he is recuperating in one of these watchtowers. However, the path to his watchtower is closed. His health is a little...
How do I get in?
On the roof.
Damn.
There's a path patrolled by the Nightjar Ninja. It's intended for shinobi, but I imagine that won't be a problem for you.
I've heard the Nightjar use smoke signals as landmarks.
Yes, so if you follow their smoke signals, you should be able to reach Lord Ishin, and you can
Okay.
use this window to
Follow
reach
the-
the roof.
Okay. Follow the frickin' smoke into the window. Frickin' got it.
Find Lord Ishin, and he's recuperating. Reach the roof from that open window. I entrust.
Oh, okay. I can do that. This window right here. Oh, look. Smoke. Oh, so that's what the frickin' smoke was for. Ah. It's this considered smoke. Huh. Alright. Just my sheet went through that. Okay. Hello? Oh, hey.
About the Divine Heir's life,
Yes?
there is something I wish to ask.
Before that, sake.
What?
You earned it. Take it.
Okay. What is this used for again? Oh! Oh yeah, you can. Don't understand that sheet fully, but.
By the rejuvenating waters. You did well to put a stop to that for me. You have my thanks.
I merely followed the code my father taught me.
Ah, the Iron Code of the Shinobi. I see. So you're the son of Owl. That boy he found during the rebellion.
Yes.
Then your travels brought you here. The bonds that tie us are so deeply amusing. Don't you think, Sekiro?
You're...
So what do you wish to know?
Fuck it, shot. I get my drink. Okay, what's the point of the drinks again? Did you ever tell me, or did the game ever tell me? Because if it did, I don't remember sheet. I feel like they didn't really. I feel like they did, but knowing me, my memory's fucking trash. Hey, what's up, Druid? How goes Elden Katana? Katana. I can't even say that. Oh, because you saw the Elden Katana freaking Souls. That's pretty good, dude. We killed the boss. Jin is something. Jinababa. Doesn't really matter. Fuck it. Oh shit. Okay, no, I don't know which one to pick. Sorry,
The
not gonna drink.
Divine Heir's desire is to
What's up,
sever
Jared?
the ties
Welcome to
of
stream, mate.
immortality.
You
I
missed the
want to know
action.
how
We
it can be
freaking
done.
slapped
Mortal blade.
Gen
If you had such
Shinobi,
a
Mobi,
weapon,
Sobi.
It may be the key to what you are after.
The mortal blade.
With it, you could kill one who cannot die through normal means.
One who cannot die.
The infested, I believe they are called. I have not seen one before, but it
Infested.
said you could stab them through the heart, or remove their head, and they wouldn't die.
Food.
If the stories are true, they'd surely be quite fearsome. To kill a monster such as that, you'd need the mortal blade.
Okay. Can I get that sheet? Is this gonna be the same thing?
The mortal blade, it may be the key to what Kuro seeks. With it, you could...
Where is this mortal blade?
I've heard it's held in Sempo Temple. However,
The fuck is
the
that?
immortal blade cannot be drawn.
What do you mean?
Okay.
I am not certain of the meaning. It's just hearsay. The
Okay.
gates to that temple are closed now, though.
Beach,
Who
open
knows
up.
what those degenerates are doing shut away up there in the mountains. There aren't any decent roads leading there.
Of course there isn't. Okay. Is that all you gotta say?
I've heard however, the mortal, it may be the key with it.
Actually, you know what? Fuck it. Fuck. Here you go.
I brought sake.
Smart thinking, my boy. Let me see. That's some good sake. This is how we drank when we won our battles. The people of Ashina, together as one.
Could you tell me?
Oh, it's I get more stuff.
Oh,
Senpai
the
Temple.
rebellion.
Senpai Temple
We
is
just
the
took
area that
back
you've
what
already been
was
to.
stolen from us.
Fucker from
Before
which one
this
that
land
is.
It's a place
But it was a dead
where
end up until now.
the Ashina people lived, where the waters flowed straight from the source. We were a people who loved our country dearly.
I don't remember that sheet. I'll know when I see it.
And we made good sake to boot. But we were heretics. And we were weak. Naturally, we were overrun.
So I'm taking this whole
Trampled.
drink sheet is just to kind of get
And
more
in long, excruciating years,
backstories
we
and see,
couldn't
or
even
just
pray
story.
at the water from the springs. The way we were then. Even good sake couldn't get us truly drunk.
But then the world fell into chaos.
Yes. Amidst the
Yes.
chaos that was Japan.
How's it going, Jared? How's your weekend, man?
The flames of war. We found the perfect opportunity to take back our land. But now, it's a place of death. It's a bitter thing indeed.
Yeah, you ain't getting more sheets, sorry.
You're leaving, Sekiro. Severing immortality. That will be quite the battle. And in battle, the plans and desires of those involved churn endlessly. If you hesitate, you'll be swept away.
And lose the battle.
Oops. I'm probably gonna do
That's
that.
right. Best you keep it in mind. Sekiro, hesitate, and you lose.
Don't fucking hesitate, Nick. You got that sheet for fucking days. Oh, I guess I was supposed to go up here. Pretty good busy day and looking like a busy week, but can't complain too much. Heck yeah.
So, you've met with Lord Ishin?
Yes. He thanked me for defeating Kenichiro.
I see.
Genichiro, that's how you say it. Ha, I knew that.
Lord Genichiro would go as far as to drink the rejuvenating sediment.
Rejuvenating sediment.
That's what we call a particularly concentrated part of the rejuvenating waters. I'm sure you saw it for yourself. The rejuvenating sediment
Yeah.
grants great resilience in one's flesh. One becomes able to withstand blows that would be fatal to anyone else. My mentor Dogen devoted much
yeah.
knowledge to its uses, but all of his works, documents, medicines, everything, were burned and destroyed. I'm not sure who, but I heard one of the senior apprentices was able to salvage some of it, probably Dojun. Did you ask Lord Kuro's thoughts on the matter?
I did.
And
We've decided to sever the ties of immortality.
I see.
I thank you for all of the help you've given me.
Almost sounds like you're bidding me farewell for good. I've carried out my lord's orders, so I will stay here in the castle. Come and speak to me whenever you please. I will provide my assistance to you as a doctor.
Sick. Okay. Do I have any of these? No, I don't. Do I want to talk to you?
Goodbye.
I thought I'd go see what this coffin's about. Gun Fort Shrine Key. This key says shrine deep within a gun fort. What the frick is that at? Gate behind the shrine that is made. Okay. Is that you coughing? Fuck coughing for?
This dust is awful.
What the frick is a gun fort?
Oh, Wolf, you're back. Did you meet with Lord Ishin?
I did. He said the mortal blade. It could be the key to severing immortality.
The mortal blade.
It's a sword that has the power to kill the undying. It can be found at Senpo Temple.
I
Senpo
see.
Temple.
Yes, that seems promising.
As you say.
For my part, I hunted for any books that may contain clues about the aroma of the fountainhead. It seems Lord Takeru indeed sought a way to reach the divine realm. So far, I found one piece of relevant information.
What is it?
A flower.
Ooh. Okay, we got a lot of stuff to talk about here. I'm assuming I can do all these. Ooh, there's some sheet. I remember about the flower. The frickin' what are the colors? Of frickin' red and white, right? From that one
My lord,
troll beach.
this is for you.
This is a document written by one who sought the fountainhead aroma.
I see.
It says there's a fragrant stone in some sacred
I don't know
village.
when I got this.
but I've never heard of such a village.
It is beneath
No, that's the other
ocean.
guy. You already found
Now
that flower.
you
I'm pretty
mention
sure.
it.
I did.
About the well near the Moonview Tower.
I remember that.
I've read it may have some connection with the bottomless hole. This may be worth investigating.
I will take a look.
Good. The text did say to throw oneself. I wonder what that could mean.
Frickin' eat yourself, dude.
I do not know.
I don't know either. See if you can think of a place.
My lord. A flower.
First, read this.
It is said that relatives of Tamo once gathered the fountainhead fragrance and around the palace. May find a key where the waters are just covered in deep pool. A white and deeply fragrant. Are you sure it's not the same flower?
What is...
Lord Takeru left it behind. I was looking for information on the fountainhead aroma and how it relates to the divine realm. There is water that flows from the fountainhead through Ashina, and the book speaks of a white lotus flower that grows where the water pools deeply.
Pretty sure
It
that one was a
appears to
fucking
be
lotus
one
too.
component of the fountainhead aroma.
A place where the fountainhead waters pool deeply. Perhaps in a deep valley?
Yes, indeed. The sunken valley may be the place. The fountainhead waters
Huh?
should flow into there.
Where is this sunken valley?
It's beyond the woods to the rear of the castle. There's a shrine
Path.
dedicated to the white serpent deep in the woods. As the
I think
name
I
implies,
see where that.
the
Where
sunken
was that? I
valley
think.
is just below that place. There's no proper path down there, but a man of your talent could navigate it.
Well, I can fucking navigate. Fuck God.
My lord, this is for you.
Hey, what's up, easy peasy? What's up,
It's a
man?
Sakura drop.
Welcome to the stream, dude.
That's-
When the undying pledge of the dragon's heritage is broken, it's said that this remains in place of the oath.
Do you think this one was left behind by Lord Takeru?
That seems likely. Wolf, if you so desire, I can use this Sakura droplet to assist you.
Hell yeah! What you gonna assist me with? How's your night going? Honestly, dude, it's going pretty good. I killed the boss we were fighting yesterday, somehow. I got carried by lightning, and then I got one thrusting attack, so I got carried. But it was good though. We did it in sub 100 deaths, so sheet, I'll take it. Can you like tell me what you're gonna do before I give this to you? No, okay, here you go.
If you should be so kind,
Of course.
What you gonna give me?
Close your eyes.
my lord.
Lord Takeru's dragon blood lives on with you.
Oh, should I have done this?
I humbly accept.
Yes. You may open your eyes now.
My lord.
Oh. Oh. That. Oh. Okay.
Planted by
Sick.
Lord Takeru. Use it well.
Yes.
Sick. Okay. Note to self: we get a freaking
Oh,
drop what we're giving
that's
this punk.
right. That door marked with the outline of a person. Lord Ishin once called
Give me 1
it
second
the
to read that.
shinobi shortcut. I haven't a clue how it works, but seeing as he mentioned shinobi, I thought you might know.
God, I'm getting so much shit, bro. Jesus. Okay, thanks. I just beat the Demon Prince boss and the ring DLC in the holy sheet. Food Cameron is mother. Damn. I think I know what boss I'm too. If I'm a very visual guy, so if I visually see it, I'll probably be like, "Oh, shit, that beach." Look forward to the next boss. I forgot who that was. Oh, you're talking about the. I don't remember. That's. Now we did lots of talking. We should check out Senpai Temple again. Yeah, congrats on finding him, my guy. Again, totally forget who. If you send me a picture of him somehow, then I'll know what the frick you're talking about. But frick if I remember. What is this? Is this one? Oh, okay. What? That's kind of nice. The game does that. Okay, so where the frick is this at? Okay, so I don't even. Okay, so when if Emma's gonna be okay, if Emma's gonna be here all the time, I'm pretty sure I can remember. It's just gonna be freaking Kuro's room. Kuro, Shmiro, Dairo. Next boss is probably one of my favorite bosses from Dark Souls 3. Wait, what? Weird. Wait, you talking about? Are you talking about the bot he's fighting or freaking I'm fighting? Oh, I forgot we're supposed to go somewhere. Oh, yeah, we're going here. Okay, remind me what this place is. Oh, this place. Wait, this was the dead end? Oh, yeah, it was. Oh, no. This place had the forest place. No, not the forest. The ice place, right? By fair boss, do you mean the artist? Knowing Bagel, probably, yeah. I'm excited to check out this new skill. Oh, and the backstab thing, dude. We got a lot of shit to check out. Oh, yeah, this is the place with that. Yeah, if we go that way, that leads to the what's it called? Is that where we're going? Oh, Frido. I remember her. She was the chick with the big ass sword, right? From my memory, I think she was pretty fun. I had a lot of fun playing Dark Souls 3. Is this person with a scythe? I'm thinking of a completely different person. Never mind. You can connect with that thing to your right now. Oh yeah, we didn't have this sheet. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I walked over here and was like, "What the frick is this?" Wait, didn't you mention a bell last stream? That's very dumb. You can only do this after fighting? Oh, okay. Oh, freaking badass. Oh boy. Okay, so we're in the freaking ice. I see a fountain. I see a freaking monkey. Okay.
3 monkeys.
I was about to say
One of
just
the panels is empty.
Why did that scare me? That's what the fuck is that? Okay. I do as much as I can on my first playthrough of anything. That's just how I play. See, I'm the same way, but I guess I did a terrible job at Elden Ring. I feel like I did kind of a good job, but apparently I did a freaking terrible job. Will Nick be these under 20 minutes? What do you guys think, chat? Oh, shit. A 5-pronged bell made of aged bronze can be used repeatedly. When wrong, monkeys and wolves alike return to their initial state. However, a monkey caught in a folding screen will not escape with a folding screen. What the fuck does that mean? Okay, I think I need to put this on. Okay, where's this sheet at? I have to do more sheet now? Okay, I'm getting rid of this. I'm getting rid of this too. Frick, I'm gonna put this sheet right here. How do you change sheet again? Oh god. Wait, I forgot how to change sheet. Okay, now I got it. Okay, what do you mean normal state? What the frick am I getting myself into? I'm trying on this beach. Wait, how do you use this again? I forgot how to play the game. Okay, who is this beach right here? Okay, I'm nervous. I don't know what the frick I'm getting myself into. Okay, who the frick is this beach? Can I talk to you? Who the frick are you?
Yet another who is lost in the halls of illusion. I believe you are on a mission.
Hey, what's up, Sasha? Hey, you beat that one dude that shoes line? Yeah, that guy was frick crack,
You
dude.
must defeat the monkeys depicted on the panels at the hall entrance. Once you have done so, the divine child's voice will reach you. The monkey in the purple kimono is the seeing monkey. He has excellent eyesight.
Oh, okay. I'm not gonna
Can
remember
see
all
great
this.
distances, and is very attentive. If he spots you, he will run immediately. He is exceedingly timid.
I don't use that thing. Okay, okay.
The monkey in
There's
the orange kimono
there's too much shit I have to remember.
While he does not have particularly good eyesight or hearing, he makes a big fuss when he sees a threat.
Okay, purple, good
Causing
eyesight.
all the other monkeys to run.
Oh god.
Perhaps
Okay,
he
purple
really
eyesight.
enjoys toying with humans.
Okay, purple eyesight. Orange is pretty much like a fear, right?
The monkey in the green kimono is
And the third
hearing
one,
monkey.
green
He
is
has
oh
excellent
Jesus.
hearing,
Okay.
Can hear across great distances and is very attentive.
Okay, so he's
will
good at hearing.
generally
Okay.
Run away the moment he hears you coming, making
Okay.
it hard to approach. He is exceedingly timid.
Okay, so purple, good eyesight. Orange. Oh shit. Okay, frick orange. Green is good at hearing. Orange is pretty much fears homies, I think.
I do not wish to leave the halls of illusion. It is usually quiet here, which means it is near to nirvana.
Can you talk to him as often as you want to do, right? Don't worry, this area. I was losing my freaking mind when I did this for the first time.
Oh yes.
Oh, great.
By the way, there was once someone who, like you, was on a mission. I believe he chased the monkeys for a while, but everything here eventually went silent.
I think I'm.
I pray
I think
for
I'm gonna be
success.
losing my mind in this place. Okay, so you said you didn't use the frickin' bell. But you know how I'm using that. Jesus. Okay. Green is good at. Oh, I'm not gonna remember that sheet. Orange is something. Some sheet. Fuck. All right. Okay. Orange is. What's the orange? The orange is something. What does this do again? Oh. 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 This. Oh. I thought that. Okay. Okay. How do I really approach this? How the frick do I? Wait, hold on. What's the green one again? The green one is good at hearing? Oh, Jesus. Okay, hold on. I didn't use the bell in the inventory. Not sure what the demons is. Okay, it's good. Never mind. Does it reset the thing? I guess so. I think so. So okay. Where's the third one at? Okay, let me just observe a little bit here. Okay. I'm not sure if I like this. I can't get up there. Okay. Okay. Can I not get up here at all? Okay, I love that. Okay. Okay. Where'd that one just go? Oh, now you want to let me do it? Wait, which one's good at hearing again? Wasn't it the green one? Okay, I'll get this eventually, hopefully. Maybe not now. Oh, okay. I got okay, I affected him out a little bit. Okay. Okay. Now, all right. Okay, hold on, give me a second. I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to be doing. I mean, I know what I gotta do, but hold on. Okay, which one's the orange one again?
The monkey in the orange kimono.
Speaking
While
one.
He does not have particularly good eyesight. Here, he makes a big fuss
When he sees a threat.
Causing all the other monkeys.
Okay, so wait, I need to get rid of this speech first.
Perhaps he merely enjoys toying with humans.
This boss is content heaven. Okay, wait. Can you shut the fuck up, bitch? Okay, so wait, I gotta get the orange guy first, because he's gonna alert everybody. So I just gotta sneak up on this speech. Well, that's freaking easy. Yeah, shut the fuck up. Okay, all I gotta do is get the orange one first. That's freaking easy money. I appreciate it if you fucking go up here. Where the fuck is he right now? What if I just like... this game's easy. Okay, this game's fucking easy. Watch this. This guy won't even know I hit him. I thought he was further away from me. You saw me? Yeah, how the fuck am I meant to sneak up on your fucking ass? Okay, alright. Wait, what do the other ones do? Oh, alright. Well, that's freaking easy. Okay, I gotta make sure not to use the bell now. Okay, so let me refresh. Remember me what the other ones are? Okay, so purple is good at seeing, right? Okay, seeing monkey. Okay.
Excellent eyesight. If he spots you, he will run. He is exceeding.
Okay, so I had to be. Okay, so all these I just gotta be freaking sneaky. What's this one again?
Monkey in the green. He has excellent hearing. He will generally run away the moment he
coming.
sees you coming, making it hard. He is
Here, wait.
The monkey in the. He has excellent.
Wait, so does that mean he's garbage at?
He will generally.
Does that mean he's garbage at seeing then?
Is there some? I would.
Who do I go for next? Does it matter? You can check the start which ones are dead for that picture. Okay.
There was once some.
Why can I like hear him walking the same? Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. No. This is easy money. All right. Okay. So, I don't think it matters the order, does it? We got the main guy out. That's the beach that freaking
Is there
alarms him.
something I would...
So I think we need to go for the green
The
one
monkey
next.
has excellent hearing. Can hear
It says
will
nothing about
generally
seeing.
run
So
away.
the freaking green one is freaking the green one. I think we just gotta be quiet as sheet. Now, how the fuck do we do that? What the fuck if I know? Okay, the real question is, where the fuck are you guys even at? I keep hearing you guys like below me, but I don't know where the fuck you guys are at. What the fuck is happening? Okay. Okay. Dude, why can't I hear as much chuckers all the time? What? Okay, I'm just gonna, I'm just thinking around the whole area. Fuck this. I love this. I don't. What are these sheets? Bringing it recklessly will also make your okay. Wait. Okay. This is good. This is good. Already 10 minutes into this. Holy shit! Already. Okay. Who the frick is that? Okay. So hold up. Who's good with hearing? This is good. This is used for a distraction here, obviously. Okay. So which one's good with hearing again? Is that the green one? Yeah. Green one's good for hearing. How would this help me out though? Okay, which one's this one? This is a person, right? Can you please shut the fuck up? I'm trying to think. Okay, which one is this one? Which one is that one? What color is that? I'm freaking... I want to know what color that is. Oh, it's purple. Duh. Okay, the purple is a good one at seeing. Okay. So you guys sneak behind the purple one. Okay. What does this say? A bare flame in the wind. When it goes out, the place becomes dark as night. Okay, this is also probably a way of what's it called? Okay. Okay, so here's big brain here. I gotta get these beaches into these sheets, right? I gotta get that one beach that's good at seeing in here, right? And I can just fucking slap him from behind. And then I gotta use the bell for the other beach. Right. Sheet. Okay, let me just. Ooh. Okay, I want to get. Can't you lock onto him? What the fuck? Just lock onto him, you dumb beat. Ah! I'm a freaking god at this game. One more easy money. Man, this game's easy as shit. Was that me? Man, this game easy as shit. Where's that stupid ass bell? Ah! Was that actually one? No, that wasn't actually one, was it? There's 4? Oh, is it the one that was freaking making noise? Oh. Oh, yeah, there is a 4th one. Oh, he's the 4th one because he's invisible. Oh, because his picture wasn't there. Ah, ha, ha. Oh, that makes sense because he's freaking, his picture is not there. Man, this game's easy as shit. I still haven't killed the other one, have I? Obviously, there's still one left. Okay, I'm gonna go back real quick. Hold on. Okay, that makes sense because he's okay. Okay. Yeah, who's left? The purple one, right? That no, I already killed the purple one. That means the green one's left. Ah ha ha. Okay, green one is good at oh god.
Is there
Can you
style?
remind me what the code is again? The hearing, okay.
Is the hearing. He has excellent hearing. He will generally run away.
So he runs away with okay, so if I ring this bell, he's gonna run away from that sheet.
I believe
Yeah, shut the fuck up. Wait, so how did the bell activate the invisible one? No one, Nick, don't ask questions. Okay, let me ring that sheet again. Didn't? Oh. It's just, oh. Bitch, I was looking behind me the whole time. I didn't see him. Okay, so we know that this beach runs away with freaking sound, so we just gotta freaking somehow. Well, first off, I gotta find this dumb beach. I don't even know where this beach is at. There's monkeys that spawn that attack sometimes. Oh, that's fun. Oh, okay. This is good for me, isn't it? So if I just go gung ho right now, I can probably get him, right? No, I'm about to make hella noise. Freaking run it. Ah! Ah! I got this. Don't worry. Don't worry. I got this. Fuck you, Peach. Well, this is 100% how you do it. Ha! Fuck you. Ah! I didn't know there was more. This one. But now I gotta deal with their freaking asses. There's a what? Why is there so many? Do these? Okay. Do those guys just constantly spawn in? Got beach. Got beach. Got beach. Fuck you, Terra Beach. Oh, okay, you getting that shit anyways? Yeah, I appreciate it. One bad right here. No, you know what? It's fine. It's not. It's all good. It's all good. No, it's good. We're cool. I don't know how to deal with that's freaking dumb. Okay, if this beach follows me all the time, all I gotta do is just. Ha! Oh, okay. Okay, what was my technique? How did I do that?
Is there some I would
What's the orange one?
the monkey and the
Yeah,
orange.
okay, it's this one. Okay. Wait, if you fall, how the frick did I not? How did it become visible? That's my question. What the frick did I do to make him visible? That's what the yellow was for. I understand now. I understand what the yellow is for. Ah! Oh, I didn't. Okay, but I mean, that didn't really go as planned. This is not, definitely not the way to do this. Maybe it is though. Maybe it is though. Watch this. No, no shot. I don't get this right now. Okay, this is definitely, you definitely have to do this a different way. You can't just chase him. Nah, that's okay. That's not possible. I kind of want to keep trying. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of want to keep trying though. I kind of want to keep trying. Okay, definitely not. Okay, not how it goes. Okay. Let's do the same strategy we had before with the orange one first. Oh boy. You guys are gonna be here anyways? I gotta deal with you at the start? I don't want to deal with you right now. Bitch, I got monkeys to freaking kill, not your asses, motherfucker. Where the frick did that orange one go? Probably saw my ass and ran because I'm freaking loud as shit. Alright, definitely not going as smooth as last time because now I gotta deal with these freaking dumb beaches. So yeah, of course the first run I do, I freaking kick ass. Now I can't even do shit. God damn it. Where's this dump beach at? Hurry up, get your ass over here. Damn, that's freaking OP. As soon as I haven't been pressing that when I was threatening speech. Okay, now I have to think of a new strategy here because I don't even know how I did the other strategy. I feel like I just got lucky the whole freaking time. Okay. Okay, we kind of know that this is where the freaking green one shows up, right? Yeah. So how would I even get the freaking element of surprise in the speech? Is that even possible? No. What the freaking technique for that? Okay. I kind of want to get the orange one first, because that seemed to work out for me, I think. Okay, which one's that one? Okay, the green one's good for hearing, right? No, not the opposite. You can't get a sneak attack when he's like that, can you? Okay, I hate this. Okay, what the frick is the green one again? The hearing? Okay.
He has excellent hearing. He will
Fook. Alright. Where the frick's the orange one at? What's he go with again? He's just making noise. Where did I find him at before? Oh no, I arrow attacked his ass. I think I was right here too. How you forget every 2 minutes what monkey does? What kind of questions that people? Come on, my guy. Okay, I already know this beach is here. Can I like, are you sure I can't just assassinate this beach from the top? Wait, what if I just... Oh, this beach's not even here. Okay, fuck it, let's go see if anyone's over here. Oh, this is where I killed him last, or before. Ah, same one too. Oh, thank God. Oh, it was a, oh, thank God. Okay. Alright, at least I pooped that one up. That was a purple one too. Okay, I still have no idea what the fuck the other ones are at. Where haven't I checked? I feel like it's worth to check up on these sheets. This is like an easy kill, right? I think the other stuff is the bell is used to just like reset their freaking location, right? I mean, that makes sense, I think. Okay, let me go ring this freaking bell again. Where's he at? Is he above? Damn, you telling me you can hear that? Okay, so okay, you're up there. Okay, so what if? How the frick am I supposed to kill you? Okay, so what if I just go around and somehow execute your ass? Watch this. And then I got this 100%. Oh shit! I didn't know you were right here. Ah! Oh wait. Dude, this thing's OP as shit. You tell me I fell from a monkey. That's fucking OP. Green one. It's green one's. Green one's hearing. Okay. There's no way I can catch you from. Oh. I don't know if I can get up there. Okay, if I go right here, you're 100% gonna see me. So, okay, let's use my brain here, Nick. Let's see. What if I can like sneakily just or do that? I've gotten the got the purple one. So did you reset? You did. Okay, I'm trying to use my noggin here, but I don't really think it's working out too well. Okay, both these freaking punks are up here. That giant voice. Wait, just stuck up right. Yeah, do I know, right? Okay, here's what I'm thinking here. Hear me out, hear me out. Oh, okay, definitely did not want to go right there. Are you gonna allow me to go up here again? Yes, you are. Okay. Now, could I? Why are you here? Huh? What? Where? How did my health get half? Oh, that beach already left anyways? Son of a beach! Did this punk leave? much frick. Ah! Okay. Okay, well that failed miserably because these dumb freaking punks made a bunch of noise. That's fucked up. I had a whole plan, it almost worked out. These freaking dumb beach. Okay, the icon didn't show up. C. Okay. I know I got this. Why? What? Why you gotta ruin my plans, my guy? Okay, there's... Dude, hold on. Why do these punks do so much damage? What the fuck? Can we, like, delete these monkeys from the game? Because now I got... Oh, yeah, this... we're gonna be here a hot minute. Is this beach still over here? This man dipped. Okay. Oh, who's he good for again? He's good for seeing, right? Not hearing. Okay, well, that doesn't matter for freaking weapon, then, right? Okay. There's no shot I doubt if these freaking dumbass Okay. The green one's hearing, right? Do you really lose that much health from dying like that? Why? I threw it before, I'm probably gonna throw it again. I'm not fighting this. Oh no, I have to now because the freaking green one is loud as sheep. Our hearing is good. Frick. Okay, there's no chance I die to these monkeys right now, right? But then again, I have freaking 2 revives. Okay, why can't you just like immediately... Okay, if you guys can like not respawn, that'd be sick. All I gotta do is deal with 4, dude. I'm cool with that. Okay, please don't respawn. Thank you very much. Alright, hurry up. Okay, this is easy mode, easy mode. Easy mode. Okay. Easy mode. I don't know how to distract you. I don't know where the frick you're at. I guess we're gonna run around and find out. Maybe I get lucky and he's over here. Oh no, he doesn't come up here. He goes to the other one. Yeah, he goes up to... So, if you're over here, then how the frick am I supposed to execute your ass? If I go over here, you're gonna hear my ass. So what? How the frick am I supposed to do that? See, you're over here, aren't you? Yeah, you are. Confirmed you can't do that. I was not aware you could go on this. Okay. I don't know if you guys knew that or not, but you can't do that. I thought I'd let you guys know. I don't know how to get him, how to kill him with that. I don't know if you can. What if I just do it a bunch of times? I think I need to have him be right there. I think is that his executing point? Yeah, I think I need to get him disaster reset. I don't know what the frick I'm doing. I don't know what the frick I'm doing. Sir, can you go over there, please? Oh! Oh, that works. Oh, okay. I wasn't aware he can just sit there and chill. I thought he was just gonna immediately run. Okay. The barrel literally said makes people deaf? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Please,
I thought it was. I don't know what I thought it was. I thought it meant it would reset their position for some reason.
Keep me hidden. However,
Good thing I did it though.
seems it was not meant to be. Close your eyes. Let us meet at the inner sanctum.
Okay. That was stressful. I don't like that. That's kind of fun, not gonna lie. Yeah, 3,000? Frick these stupid ass monkeys. Better give me that frickin' power beach. What is this? Manipulates the victim like a puppet. Costs for him to use activate after. Okay. This technique temporarily forces one who should have fled to remain. Realm to remain. English. Emperor moves on behalf of his master, but its strings are designed to snap. What? Okay, cool. We'll have to try that. Okay. Okay, this. No, not this. No, not that. This. Okay, give me that sheet. Alright. And then I said I was gonna unlock. Oh, of course, it's fucking 3. Throw your body into an enemy, knocking them away. See, now that could be nice. Do I really want that though? This is also nice as well, but eh. The skill increases the damage inflicted to Posure upon performing a successful deflection. Why don't I have this? A few first seconds after deflection increases damage to enemy Posure from all sources. Why haven't I got any of these? These are freaking nice. What the frick is wrong with me? I feel like I should get this right the frick now, dude. Yeah, let me see what else there is. Yeah, that one's. And now that sprint one's. Eh, what is this one? Nah. Increases the damage inflicted to Posure upon executing a successful. Ooh, we might get that one after. I feel like I should get this one. Like, frick trying to go for this right now. I feel like I should get this one. And then get this one. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Forget. Because this is just. I like passive so you don't have to remember anything. Reduce the amount of damage of Posure when attacking by an enemy with the sword. Okay. Recovers Posure upon executing. Wait, recovers. Ooh. Ooh, you know what? That can be kind of useful for frickin' for some bosses that have. Well, I guess all bosses technically have more than one sheet. What I mean, the chances if you go, never mind.
Why do you seek this place?
I seek the mortal blade.
Do you know of the blade that cannot be drawn?
Yes.
It is so called, for not one who has drawn it has ever survived. Yet you still wish to attempt this.
Hell yeah. I think.
I do.
I see. Very well.
Oh, okay. We're just going in right now. Okay. Oh my.
If you are prepared, you may gaze upon the blade.
Am I ready for this? I guess I am. Oh, this is gonna look badass. Oh, this is from the trailer, isn't it? Oh, shit. Then one little look at it? Well, I'm dead. Okay. More bad ending. Happy giant dead yet. Rise!
How are you? Your eye. I see. You carry the curse of the dragon's heritage.
The mortal blade. Without question. I accept its power.
That's a badass looking katana. That's all I had to do. Capable of slaying the ending, its secrets would take life of the law with the power. With the pressure, one will not hope to with its weapon, which allows them to defeat. Huh? It's a freaking badass looking freaking blade, dude. God, little things excite me. Okay, so wait. What enemies have I fought that involve the Undying? Have I fought any enemies that involve that? Like, what? I mean, I know what that means. But what does that mean? So this is my ticket to killing what's his face because he has the. So wait, it's anyone that has the what's it called, right? The stuff that I have. Where I can resurrect from the dead. Oh yeah, Undying. Duh. Duh. Okay, I think I understand. Maybe, possibly.
I see you serve the divine heir of the
Dragon's
dragon's
heritage. Yeah,
heritage.
yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Why do you seek the mortal blade?
I wish to obtain the dragon tears from the divine realm to sever the ties of immortality.
I see. I have read about this. I have read there is a way to sever the dragon's heritage. Which means the divine heir begrudges the power of the dragon's heritage.
That's right.
How strange fate can be. I am one of the children of the rejuvenating waters, created by those who would stop at nothing to achieve immortality. My false dragon's blood was created by man.
Children. So there are
Okay.
many of you.
I am the only one who survived the process. The others are laid to rest here.
I see.
I do not know if it is right to sever the ties of immortality, but the dragon's heritage undeniably corrupts the lives of men, and I share the heir's feelings about that truth. Shinobi of the divine heir, I have decided to assist you. Please, hold out your hand.
What?
Bless us with bountiful harvest.
Okay. Rest is spoiled with the child to gradually recovers vitality over time. Okay, so this is what, another freaking pellet?
This is rice?
There you are. Rice is a precious
Okay.
thing. It tastes better the more you eat it, and restores one's vigor.
Oh, thanks.
Shinobi of the divine heir, you are welcome here.
Can I get some more?
I apologize. Shinobi of the divine heir, the rice is not yet ready for harvest.
Okay, so what, I can only have one
I shall
each or
give
something?
you more when the harvest is complete.
Give holy chapter infested? Oh, I got this from what's his face.
This is for you.
What is this?
I was told to give this to you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I will accept it.
Thanks.
What's wrong?
I still cannot help but detest them.
Is that rice right
I
here?
apologize. Shinobi of the right, I shall. Farewell, Shinobi of the divine heir. May the harvest be plentiful wherever your path may lead.
Sick. Okay. Oh. You agreed to doing both endings in this game, right? Or do you only want to do one? Okay, so let's talk about that. So both endings, like, I have to do, like, what? eat half or more than half of the same bosses I've already fought already, right? So yeah, because I mean, I guess well. Also, if I had to do both endings, am I starting like a new game plus, or am I starting the whole new game? Like, will I have the same amount of like damage and sheet that I've been having? Second playthrough is a lot shorter. The bad ending has 2 extra bosses. Ooh. So yeah, is it like a new game plus or what? Oh, you just said this. Okay. Never mind. I mean, I guess I'm down, right? Why not? Okay, run it. We would probably do New Game Plus. It's going to be a lot quicker, but also probably easier since New Game Plus doesn't scale that greatly. Oh, it doesn't? Ooh, okay. Oh, does this mean this is the first game I'm actually going to New Game Plus? Oh, shit. I did New Game Plus and finished the bad ending in like 2 to 3 hours. Oh, that's it? Oh, I thought you meant like... Oh, I thought... Okay, that's it? For some reason, I was expecting like maybe like 10 and 20 or something. From start to finish. Okay, so add like maybe 5 hours for me, so 70 hours. Okay. But I didn't bother looting. I just rushed to where I had to go. I mean, is there any point of looting? I guess. Frick it. Yeah, frick it. Let's run it. I'm down. I'm not in no rush. Kind of. I mean, obviously, now we're doing both. I kind of want to see what these 2 extra bosses are. We got them and stuff, so we can do some stuff to prepare for the not bad ending. Because if we do it, it's too late. We can't do it anymore. Real quick. What's this? Do I want to pick this up right now? That's not what I want to do. So which path am I leading to right now? I'm leading towards the good one. Well, you haven't told me any decisions I've made yet, so. Also, can we talk about how I got here without asking questions?
Is it
It is the mortal blade.
the sword that can kill those who cannot die?
Yes, it was given to me by the divine.
It's the longest with the most bosses. Fuck, say less. I like it.
Divine child of the rejuvenating waters?
The monks at Sempo Temple abandoned the ways of their faith in pursuit of immortality.
I guess that makes sense. First playthrough, most bosses. Second playthrough, couple less.
The divine children of the rejuvenating waters.
A false dragon's heritage. I never would have thought. Wait, divine children?
Yes, many were created, but only one survived.
Further proof of the corruption this power brings to man. The ties of immortality must be severed.
Yes, my lord.
Also consider the not bad ending, I think. Oh, okay. Make sure you enjoy the dialogue with Kurher, like everything. We will do a lot of talking now. Ah, shit. Okay.
I see you've gathered some of the ingredients needed to create the aroma of the fountainhead. Keep up the good work, Wolf. One part of the fountainhead
Have
aroma
is
is
this
a
the same?
white flower that blooms where
It's
the
the same thing as
fountainhead
before, right?
waters run deep.
Yes, my lord.
Yeah.
I will search the sunken valley.
The sunken valley is beyond the woods.
Yeah, we already did
There's
this.
there's no. Ah, I meant to ask. Did you notice the lingering scent in the incense burner?
No.
I did not.
I see. Then I suggest you do so at some point. It is faint, yet it makes you feel as though there is still some of the aroma left.
Should I go do that? No, frick that. Wait, can you explain to me what the frick the rice is for? Is that all it's used for? Is just a more vigor restoration? Blah, blah. Rice is to. It used to give you some. Oh, really? Oh. Like the old lady in temple wanted you to bring her rice. Oh shit! You're right. The frickin'. Oh yeah. I'd be a negative, Captain. I had to cleanse Dragon Rod if he didn't teleport. Okay, I'm guessing what she's doing now. Ta-da! Damn it. Cleanse teleport, all we gotta do is cleanse Dragon Rod. Okay. Oh, shit! I should have kept that frickin'. Oh, shit. I should have kept the frickin' drop when I gave it to what's his face. Shit. I used it on the dude for the what's it called? What did he give me again? Oh yeah, he gave me more of the what's it called? Oops. Whoopsies. You can buy them? Oh, okay. Well, I got frickin' money. I'm rich as shit. Okay, let's see. Don't tell me. I think I know where one's at. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Don't. I got it. I got it. I don't. I got it. No. Wait. I know where two are at, but we'll check this one first.
You've caught it
Oh,
too.
see.
It's this place. So much brutality. I must make an offering.
Oof. That's it? Wait. So wait, I can buy this and give it to what's his face to upgrade my resurrection power for 180 gold? That's it? Dragon also blocks quest progress. That's fucking dumb. What is this for? That's kind of why we're doing it. Who cares about this stuff? Don't worry, my guy. I got this. I'm on it right now. Do I have to go to the other place? Nah, forget it. One, two, three. In the middle. And in the middle. Son of a bitch. I fucked up, Pickle. Do I need rest again?
I see you've gathered some of the ingredients. Keep up the good. Oh, that door marked with the outline of a person. Lord Ishin once called it a shinobi shortcut. I haven't a clue how it works, but seeing as he mentioned shinobi,
I already know this.
I thought you might know.
Oh yeah, what? I haven't done that since the start of the game. I kind of forgot what's that. What that is?
I'm glad you've
Oh, it's that
come,
thing, isn't it?
Master Wolf. There was a dragonrot epidemic in Ashina once before. Back then, a cure was not achieved. Every single person who caught it died.
I see.
Damn, rip.
It is my hope that finally discovering the cure has alleviated this regret, if only a little.
Oof. Do I want? I didn't get a seat, right? No. Do I want to give you a drink? Nah.
Goodbye.
Actually. Nah. I think, do we need to interact with this? Is there any, yeah, because he said I need to go to do it. Oh. Oh, never mind. Oh, Fukushima Bagel, what did I miss? Wait, so I probably shouldn't use this if it's gonna do my, what's it called? What I forgot, Bagel? What I forgot?
My
Let me
lord,
see if,
I did. The
oh.
smell was reminiscent of sawdust, but also it smelled faintly of sakura flowers.
Oh, so you smelled it too. I felt the scent was much like sakura flowers, but slightly different. What is it, Wolf?
That scent. It reminds me of.
You know, it's, yeah, as I
something.
figured. Look at me
You've
paying
smelled
freaking
it
attention.
before.
I believe so. But I can't remember where.
Now that you mention it, Lady Emma said that once long ago, there was a sakura tree to the rear of the castle. Perhaps that is relevant to our search.
Wait. Say that again? Oh yeah, to the...
I see you've gathered some of the... Keep up the...
Yeah, that has to, the what's it called?
The scent in the incense burner reminded me of a sakura tree. Yet, it wasn't a regular sakura flower. Lady Emma might know something about the sakura tree that was once in the back of the castle. Oh, that's right. That door marked with Lord I had seen.
There is something I would like to ask you.
Yes. What is it?
What's up with the tree,
sakura
dog?
tree behind the castle.
You mean the Everblossom? It is a sakura tree that Lord Takeru brought from his homeland.
So it's a sakura tree from the divine realm.
Yes. It's quite a mysterious one at that. It was constantly in bloom, even outside of spring. However, the Everblossom no longer exists. It withered away.
Why?
There was a person who cut off a branch and took the flowers
Who the
from
fuck
the
would do
tree.
that?
Without its flowers, the Everblossom was unable to survive. Eventually,
What the
the
fuck?
entire tree was lost.
What a fucking punk who would do that?
Goodbye.
What the fuck? What's up, bullshit? This is the thing she's talking about, right? Is this where? I don't know if I was supposed to go on that. What is up? What is this camera angle? I just want to confirm. Just want to confirm what that was. Getting tired of wrestling, Bagel. I'm just kidding. We still need this punk to be in the middle, huh? It's a freaking lot of talking. Oh, he moved positions.
I asked Lady Emma.
Oh yeah, I
about
gotta
the
follow up
sakura
with the tree.
You did?
Duh.
What did she say?
The tree is called an Everblossom. Lord Takeru brought it here from the divine realm, but it has withered away and no longer remains.
Yeah, 'cause some dumb
I
beach
see.
decided to cut a
However,
branch.
It is said that someone plucked a branch from the Everblossom and stole off with it.
So all we gotta do is just find
Who
that
would
beach.
do such a thing?
Mhm.
What's lost is lost. Finding a stolen tree branch? We have no information to go on. Let us gather what we can for the aroma first.
As you wish.
Oh. Double check.
I see you've got. Keep up the. You're leaving, Wolf. I'm counting on you.
My lord.
I got you, my guy. Don't even freaking stress. I'm a freaking professional. I think. Okay, what'd you say again? To the scent of the freaking aroma to do some shit? Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I see you've gathered some of the
Oh, should I have
ingredients
talked to him?
needed to create the aroma of the val. Keep up the good. You're leaving.
My lord.
Oh, okay. I just assumed I was to talk to him. Rest and then eavesdrop on Kuro and Instagram. Okay, so again, I always ask this. My question is, how the frick would I know to do all this stuff? You said in his room, like he's supposed to be in there, or what? Does the game really like tell you 100% do? I mean, I guess it is telling me to talk, you know, talk to Emma and then follow up with freaking Kuro. Eavesdrop. Don't have to have the little icon pop up. Where's that sheet at? Oh. Wait. Okay, how would you know to do that, dude? What? See, that's why I don't understand about these games. Just suggest to me sometimes.
I'm glad you've come, Master Wolf. Master Wolf, it looks as if your brow is less furrowed than before. If only a little.
My brow?
Please, see that Lord Kuro's wish to sever immortality is met. Goodbye.
I see you've gathered some of. Keep up the good.
Oh.
You're leaving, Wolf.
My lord.
That's a fucking lot of resting, my guy. Jesus. What the fuck?
I'm glad you've come, Master Wolf. Master Wolf, it looks as if your brow is less furrowed. Please, see that.
Okay, I guess I gotta talk
Goodbye.
to. You did the eavesdrop wrong? The fuck did I do wrong? Watch this.
It's so dusty. My nose won't stop itching. It's unbearable.
Wait, can I just? Oh, I can do that to anyone.
I see you've gathered some of the ingredients. Keep up. You're leaving, Wolf.
My lord.
What the food? What the food? What did I do wrong? Stressing in hopes that he gets in the middle of the room again. What the food? I don't know how I messed it up and did the same sheet. Wait, does he say the same thing here? What the food? What you did wrong is that you just talked to him instead of and didn't read the message fully. What you mean? I feel like I did. I feel like I read them all. What you mean? I'm gonna run through his.
I see you've. Keep up. So, the Everblossom has withered and no longer remains.
That is correct. But it is said that someone plucked a branch from the Everblossom and stole off with it.
What's lost? Finding a stolen tree branch? Let us gather what we can for the aroma first.
See
As
that
you
right
wish.
there. What is that?
We're leaving.
What the frick is
My
that?
lord.
I'm glad you've come, Master Wolf. Master Wolf, it looks your brow, please.
And this chick tells me to... Frick, I'm giving you one of these. No, I'm not giving you that sheet, man. What the
Master
food?
Wolf, it looks as if your brow is less furrowed than before. If only
Have you faced the ape? I have.
please see that Lord Kuro's
Oh, wait,
wish
no,
to
I
sever
haven't.
Immortality is met.
Wait, that was a different boss than you guys were talking about on Friday? Oh, what? Is there two guys?
Goodbye.
Alright, here's the solution, my guy. Here's all you gotta do. That's all I gotta do, my guy. I'm from the frickin' master. Only I can break sheet, of course. What the fuck? Oh no, I can't do it? What the fuck? You drop from the other side. What the fuck? Where are the places gonna eavesdrop? Can I go behind here? Where else can I freaking eavesdrop? Oh, right here. 100%. Oh. Oh, sick. Ah, I'll go here. 100% right here. Nope. Unquiet joke at this point. Oh boy. Dark Souls is really hard to play while under the influence. Yeah, probably. How do I manage to do this? Probably because you eavesdrop from the wrong side of the room. Does that really matter? Maybe it was still talking afterwards? Frick, do I talk to him again? Or what the frick do I have to lose at this point? Maybe it's done then secretly. Manage to follow the smoke signals. Rest and then eavesdrop on Kim's room. Wait, it says eavesdrop on him and Emma. I didn't eavesdrop on her, did I? No, I did. Wait, it just said to go out. Wait, it says to go on the frickin' out here, didn't it? Did I read that wrong? Oh no, it just says this place. Wait, no, it says this place. That's the other beach. Wait, so he should be in the other room then. Wait, what? Go to issue, I guess. But clearly Emma is in here. True. Oh, we're worth a shot though. We're trying to progress, I think, and I broke something. I think. Should I rest or should I go over there? How did I pick this up? What the food? I feel like I was listening pretty good. But I think you talking to Kuro randomly just broke it for now. Wait, at what point did I mean, I talked to him a lot. Which occasion? What the fuck?
I'm glad. Goodbye.
Fuck it. Let me go over there and talk to that dumb beach and see what he says. I think lose this point already. Broke sheet. Okay, that's my first shot.
Sekiro. Is that the
Oh, you know what? I never talked to him about the Mortal Blade.
According to the divine child of the inner sanctum, anyone who draws the mortal blade will meet death.
Which means only one such as you can wield it then.
When I drew out the blade and saw its crimson edge, I too died once.
I see. The Crimson Edge. Listen, Sekiro. With the Mortal Blade, you can now kill the Undying. A truly terrifying weapon, don't you think?
What are you trying to say?
That sword is now yours. Who?
Wait, so all I gotta do is just pull that shit out and things die? I just realized.
Drawing it. You're leaving, Sekiro. Another time, then.
Isn't that exactly what it is? Alright, should we rest again and see what happens? I mean, what do I have to try? What do I have to lose this time, right? I'm not gonna rest. Oh, I'm not gonna rest. There's other ways later on, I guess. Just gotta not mess up again. What should I? Fuck, I'm gonna try again. You told me not to do it in here. Okay, that's the same sheet as that. Okay. Now, didn't it also say to do her too? At some point? When can I do that? That thing you sent me, doesn't it? It says her too.
I'm glad. Master Wolf, it look your goodbye.
What the fuck?
I see you've got keep up. One is
Yeah.
the some there's a freak there perhaps what
I do not.
see
My
so
that, but
what's love? Let us.
as you would,
You're leaving, Wolf.
my lord.
What the fuck? What the fuck? Alright, well, rip. Wait, what if I reset it and then do it from over here? Maybe that'll fix it. Did I already do that? What the fuck is this little hiding spot in here? Oh, okay. Oof. Damn it. I'm always breaking sheet. To be fair, this is the game's fault for allowing me to break it. I had nothing to do with this.
I see you've got keep up. You're leaving, Wolf.
My lord.
What happens if I do right now? I don't have time to do anything else, so I might as well just continue to do this. Wait, couldn't I? Ah, I was saying, can I like roll back a save? Guess this game doesn't do that. I don't quite think this is working. It's definitely not working. Okay, forgot me try over again. Yeah, this is okay, not working. Food.
I see. Keep up. You're leaving, Wolf.
My lord.
Alright. Well, see. I tried. Tried. So, what happens if I fuck it up again, somehow? Also, I feel like I forgot a death when I was fighting the monkeys. I might skim past it after my stream and see if I missed one or not. Don't bother for now, just keep playing as you normally would. Okay. Well, what's the next progression anyways? Maybe I did it and they changed some shit. How old is that post? Are you sure that's like up to date and shit? Because maybe that's like the new dialogue or something. But then again, this game is kind of old. So, whoops.
I'm glad you.
I didn't fucking mean to talk to you. What if the secret is to give her a freaking drink? Alright, so what's the next objective? To go through the frickin' the thing? Oh shit. Can I get the ingredients? Oh yeah. We gotta go I gotta go over there, huh? We gotta get the what's it called? Alright, we can quickly see if there's a frickin' waypoint over here. Ooh, do I test my skill here? Well, this isn't where it came from, right? Nah, nah. Let's just watch the sheep. Watch the sheep. Ah! Ah! Oh, I thought he was about to yeet me off. I wanted to. Why are you so? Why are you so difficult? Is this how the people are here? Oh yeah, I forgot this place is simple. Okay, I fought bosses. There's no shot. Just die to you right now. All my potions. And now I'm just getting combos. You know what? I wanted the 100. I felt like the 100 was nice, so we might as well just get it real quick, right? Fuck it. I forgot enemies here are stupid and I hate them. I wanted the 100. Wait, what if we needed to die? Alright, well, we tried. We still met your objective of the 2 bosses. I count today's stream as a W. Oh, shit. I have 14 and a half, almost a half hours in this game. I'm so stupid I messed up. Oh, shit, what happened? I have to do it, oh wait, what'd you mess up?